Tonight, Canada's AI minister demands more from OpenAI in the wake of the BC mass shooting.
This was a colossal, horrific mistake.
The account was suspended, but the shooter remained on the platform. Are the new safety rules enough?
There's a bunch of mixed emotions.
As Tumbler Ridge goes back to school. New health guidance. All Canadian children should have their cholesterol checked.
If you didn't do the test, you never would have known.
Why doctors recommend screening could start as young as 2. Hasan Piker is flipping the script on American political commentary.
I do what conservative radio talk show hosts have done for years, but as a socialist.
He's popular, polarizing, and now weighing in on Canada. We sit down with a controversial online streamer in the breakdown.
From CBC News, this is The National with Erica Johnson.
Thanks for joining us. Tonight, Ottawa says it will be getting answers straight from the CEO of OpenAI, the company behind ChatGPT, under increased pressure about its safety policies in the wake of the deadly Tumbler Ridge shooting. OpenAI revealed that the shooter's use of the chatbot went further than previously known, opening a second account when the first was flagged and quietly shut down. The company only informing law enforcement after the shooting. Now, the Minister of Artificial Intelligence says he's seeking a detailed plan from CEO Sam Altman to ensure the safety of Canadians. OpenAI says it's already improved, but as Olivia Stefanovich shows us, for several Canadian leaders from Ottawa to BC, that's not good enough.
We have to go way beyond wagging a finger at them.
Members of Parliament across party lines are demanding action.
The fact that something could have been done if only the rich bastards in the AI industry had reported what they knew makes it a little bit harder.
Canada's Minister for AI is going straight to the top, meeting with OpenAI CEO Sam Altman next week, saying the company still hasn't done enough in the wake of the Tumbler Ridge mass shooting.
We need to do something. What happened, the tragedy in Tumbler Ridge, I think is a lesson.
OpenAI says it's already improved its safety policies and would have reported the shooter to police had they been in place last year, when it detected troubling posts involving gun violence and banned the account. But in a letter to the minister, the company says it found a second account from the shooter and that it's now working with mental health and behavioral experts to help assess difficult cases going forward.
OpenAI has said that they've got a new set of rules. Well, there needs to be transparency for Canadians.
In a statement issued Friday, Solomon says he wants to see a detailed plan about how human review decisions are made, escalation thresholds applied, and how privacy considerations are balanced with public safety.
This was a colossal, horrific mistake.
BC Premier David Eby also plans to deliver that message directly to Altman in a separate upcoming meeting.
I will be looking for his support for a national standard across Canada, a national threshold where all AI companies must report, and clear consequences for if they fail to report incidents where people are planning violence.
Solomon says he will seek further clarity on how OpenAI conducts human reviews and whether that practice works with Canadian laws and standards. He also says he plans to meet with other major tech platforms operating within the country.
And Olivia, the government is also considering other options.
Yes, the federal government is considering a social media ban for children and teens, along with regulations for AI chatbots. Now, that could be included in a new version of the Online Harms Act after it failed to become law. The challenge, of course, is balancing security with personal privacy.
Thanks for this, Olivia Stefanovich in Ottawa. More than 2 weeks after the shooting, students of Tumbler Ridge Secondary are going back to school. John Hernandez now on the trauma that confronts them and the way the community is supporting them.
In Tumbler Ridge, BC, the grief is far from over, but a return to some form of normal has begun.
There's a bunch of mixed emotions, and I get it. You can't really force the kids to do what they want, that you want right now.
Dennis Campbell gave his daughter Quinn a choice to go back to school. The Tumbler Ridge students were last there just over 2 weeks ago when bullets rang through the halls.
Every door slamming right now, she jumps, and every little creak and noise she's hearing, she's worried, right? Because she heard it all.
The 12-year-old student, one of about 100 kids who voluntarily returned to Tumbler Ridge Secondary for one class on Friday. The province and the district put up a collection of portables so kids don't have to step inside the same building where a shooter killed 5 students and an educational assistant.
I think it's a little early. Do you really want your kids just to hang out at home and do nothing and be on social media and think about what has happened?
The makeshift high school opened for just a few hours on the grounds of the elementary school, also open a block away from where the shooting occurred. Security guards and cameras are installed as students gradually return to the routine.
Naturally, after a traumatic event such as this one, people will have, days when they're feeling up to regular activities and days that'll be more difficult.
The last time that these kids were back in that school or near that school was when the shooting occurred. You're going to have the kids that are openly crying, but you're also going to have kids that want to support each other.
This trauma expert says it's important for parents to let their kids make their own choices, but providing a place for them to be together can help them move forward.
We don't heal in isolation. We heal in togetherness.
The temporary school is expected to expand in the coming weeks with room for more kids if they're willing and able to return. John Hernandez, CBC News, Vancouver.
Prime Minister Mark Carney is in India tonight ahead of meetings to strengthen trade ties between the two countries. As Catherine Cullen tells us from Mumbai, the talks come after years of political tension.
The Prime Minister has come to India looking to rewrite the relationship with a big emphasis on investment and trade. Saskatchewan's Premier has traveled with him, hopeful Canada is making up for lost time with India.
And I would say from a trade perspective that we've fallen behind a number of other countries around the world.
This is a big reset.
India is keen too. The High Commissioner says his country wants a lot of what Canada is selling, particularly energy, from nuclear to oil and gas.
Energy, there is appetite to which even Canada cannot fulfill. And we're willing to buy whatever Canada is offering on crude, on LPG, on LNG.
A far cry from recent years, from Justin Trudeau's awkward visit to 2023 allegations Indian agents were involved in the murder of a Sikh activist in BC. But Carney has made it clear he wants to defrost the relationship and jumpstart trade talks.
India is the most populous country in the world. It is the 4th largest economy. It is the fastest growing economy, and it's an important geopolitical actor. For us to be able to diversify non-U.S. exports, India has to be a critical part of that puzzle.
Saskatchewan's Premier says he's hopeful a new pipeline to Canada's west coast could be part of the answer.
I would suggest that we as Canadians have a responsibility to provide and displace some of the dirtier forms of energy, some of the more unethical forms of energy.
But questions hang over the two countries' security relationship after one federal official told journalists the violence and repression fueled by the Indian government has stopped. Activists from Canada's Sikh community insist the intimidation continues.
I said it was the 800-pound gorilla. It's the issue that could derail this reset.
Government officials insist there is an ongoing conversation about security right alongside the talk of trade. Carney is beginning his trip here in the country's business capital. On Monday in New Delhi, he'll meet with India's Prime Minister. Catherine Cullen, CBC News, Mumbai.
China is suspending tariffs on some Canadian agricultural and seafood imports set to begin this weekend. It's good news for farmers and fisheries, but as Cameron McIntosh shows us, there's still hope for a broader list of exports to be included.
As last fall's canola crop came off the fields, plenty of trepidation over Chinese tariffs. Most of that canola is still in the bin. But now, fresh hope as China prepares to drop some tariffs.
What it goes to show is both countries obviously are being serious, and this is the start of what I would hope is basically relief of tariffs with everything.
Last year, China slapped a 100% tariff on canola meal, used mostly as animal feed. and 78.5% on canola seeds for oil, freezing about $5 billion in trade for Canadian canola producers. Last month, the Prime Minister cut a deal to get those tariffs dropped by March 1st. In exchange, Canada will allow some Chinese EVs. For now, China says it's eliminating the canola meal tariff, while the government and industry also expect it will soon reduce tariffs on canola seeds, the bulk of canola exports to China.
There's reason for optimism. Our goal, in canola's case, is to reestablish the competitiveness of our products in this very important market, our second largest market.
Tariffs on Canadian lobsters and peas are also being reduced. There are still outstanding tariffs on pork.
We're seeing good news on canola, but we still need to see a bit more work on the pork side.
A lot of Canadians actually see China still as Canada's #1 threat.
But, say analysts, for an exporting country, China is simply too big to ignore.
You're in the business of filling stomachs. It's hard to overlook markets like China and India. There's a lot of people there.
In this case, it means balancing the agricultural sector against the auto sector. That's not lost on HARP.
And I think this government is paying attention to us.
Now, the deal, at least for now, is only good until the end of the year, which means for the next canola crop to be planted this spring, there are no guarantees. Cameron McIntosh, CBC News, Winnipeg.
In Washington, former U.S. President Bill Clinton was questioned behind closed doors for 6 hours about his relationship with Jeffrey Epstein. As Paul Hunter shows us, Clinton denied any wrongdoing right out of the gate.
As Bill Clinton's motorcade sped toward the closed hearing in Chappaqua, New York, it was clear the former president wanted his message on Jeffrey Epstein to be out there. His opening statement, published first thing in the morning. I saw nothing, it said, of Epstein's crimes, and I did nothing wrong. Republicans led the questions for Clinton on Epstein all day.
There are a lot of photos that have been released by the Department of Justice as well as the Epstein estate. There are a lot of email correspondence that included President Clinton.
Indeed, among the millions of now public files on the late billionaire sex trafficker Epstein are countless photos, emails, and other documents, including those of Clinton with Epstein, friends in the 1990s and early 2000s, says Clinton, long before Epstein's crimes were known. A handful show Clinton alongside unidentified women, this one in a hot tub. And flight logs signal Clinton flew on Epstein's private jet multiple times, but there's never been any evidence of any wrongdoing by the former president. From Clinton's opening statement, I had no idea of the crimes Epstein was committing, no matter how many photos you show me. And he defended his wife, former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton, who'd been questioned for hours the day before. I have to get personal, he wrote. You made Hillary come in. She had nothing to do with Jeffrey Epstein. Nothing. Including her in this was simply not right. For Democrats, the big takeaway was simply that Clinton was called to do this, setting precedent, they say, for Donald Trump to now be called. His name is in the Epstein files nearly 40,000 times.
This is not a hoax. He has not been exonerated, and we have serious questions for President Trump.
As with Clinton, there's been no public evidence of wrongdoing by Trump. Asked for his thoughts on Clinton's deposition.
They certainly went after me a lot more than that. I don't like seeing him. Look, I like him, and I don't like seeing him deposed.
Said Clinton, again in that opening statement, no person is above the law, even presidents, adding especially presidents, Erica.
And Paul, there is word tonight of pressure on one of Donald Trump's cabinet secretaries regarding Epstein.
Yeah, Donald Trump said today that his Commerce Secretary, Howard Lutnick, a key promoter of U.S. tariffs, quote, would go in and do whatever he had to say if subpoenaed by this committee. Lutnick once said he'd cut ties with Epstein well before his crimes were known, but later said he and his family visited Epstein's private island some years afterward. Trump also saying Lutnick's a very innocent guy. Erica.
That's Paul Hunter in Washington tonight. Donald Trump says the U.S. is in talks with Havana and suggested that Cuba could end up under U.S. control.
Maybe we'll have a friendly takeover of Cuba. We could very well end up having a friendly takeover of Cuba.
He didn't clarify what he meant by friendly takeover. Cuba is in the throes of an energy crisis after the U.S. seizure of Venezuela's oil cut off the island from its main source. Trump also sounded off on the prospect of an attack on Iran.
We haven't made a final decision. We're not exactly happy with the way they negotiated. They cannot have nuclear weapons. Look, we have the greatest military anywhere in the world. There's nothing close. I'd love not to use it, but sometimes you have to.
The U.S. military buildup in the region is the largest in decades, including hundreds of aircraft, 2 carrier groups, and several destroyers. Talks between Iran and the U.S. have not produced a deal, and some Canadian and U.S. embassy staff in the region are being pulled out. However, the U.S. Secretary of State also announced a visit to Israel early next week. A simmering conflict between Pakistan and Afghanistan has boiled over in what Pakistan's defense minister is calling an open war. Briar Stewart explains what's driving the conflict.
Explosions echoed through the mountainous terrain that forms part of the sprawling border between Afghanistan and Pakistan. Pakistani residents living in the area said escalating clashes Thursday evening forced many to take shelter. Some stayed with relatives, said Shah Saud, adding others sheltered in hospitals. Then in the early hours on Friday, Pakistan's military responded, launching airstrikes on Taliban military sites in Kandahar province and in the capital, Kabul, where anxious residents were left to clean up some of the damage. Pakistan's defense minister said the country's patience had run out and now there will be an open war.
All these targets were very carefully selected based on intelligence. They are military targets.
Pakistani officials claim that the strikes killed nearly 300 Taliban officials and militants. Afghanistan's Taliban-run government disputes that figure, adding that some civilians were among the casualties. The latest violence is part of what experts call an escalating tit-for-tat waged between 2 former allies. Pakistan accuses Afghanistan of harboring militants and fueling domestic terrorism in Pakistan by supporting the Taliban group there. Afghanistan denies that.
The trouble is you have this escalatory ladder that each one is climbing, and the fear really is that we might be blindly fumbling our way into an open war.
Ibrahim Bahis woke up to the sound of explosions overnight in Kabul.
I think there's great unease because Afghanistan has seen decades of conflict.
He says for the past few years, Afghans have been living under a precarious peace, but that could be completely shattered if the violence escalates further. Briar Stewart, CBC News, London.
Some sad news tonight from the entertainment world. Neil Sedaka, the voice behind a slew of 60s and 70s hits, has died. The American shot to fame behind songs like Calendar Girl and later in his career, Laughter in the Rain. In a statement, his family called him a true rock and roll legend and an incredible human being. They didn't say how he died. Neil Sedaka was 86. There are new recommendations for cholesterol screening in children as young as 2.
Hopefully when I'm 40, 50, I won't be at the same stage as someone who might have not caught it.
The push to catch a genetic condition that could be treated early. Next. Plus, thousands of jobs are being cut at financial tech company Block.
I don't think anybody exactly knows just how capable AI is going to be, even in the near future.
But just how much of the job cutting is really due to AI? And New Yorkers get creative after an historic blizzard.
It really made us feel like part of a community that you don't always feel in a city.
How the snowstorm brought the city together. We're back in 2.
Oh, it's right on the doorstep. They score! Tyler McGregor.
Para-hockey captain Tyler McGregor has been named as one of Canada's 2 flag bearers for the Milano Cortina Paralympic Games. The Ontario native will be joined by BC's Natalie Wilkie, Canada's para-Nordic skiing star. Combined, McGregor and Wilkie have won 10 previous Paralympic medals. New guidance from the Canadian Pediatric Society is recommending all kids be tested for high cholesterol. The screening could start as early as age 2. Lauren Pelly explains why it could help avoid serious health issues later in life.
Good thing. Healthy eating is important to this Edmonton family. Mike Heathcote has a genetic condition that causes bad cholesterol to build up inside his arteries, and it passed on to his 2 kids.
They had a healthy, active lifestyle, just normal kids. If you didn't do the test, you never would have known.
That test was simple blood work to screen for high cholesterol. It gave Heathcote a chance to get his children on statin medication early to protect them from heart disease later in life.
Hopefully when I'm 40, 50, I won't be at the same stage as someone who might have not caught it.
The Canadian Pediatric Society is now calling for all Canadian children to be screened for high cholesterol between the ages of 2 and 10 years old. Researchers say 1 in 300 Canadians has familial hypercholesterolemia, or FH, a genetic condition that causes lifelong elevations in blood cholesterol, starting in childhood. For 9 in 10 people with FH, the condition is undiagnosed.
If we don't treat it, the risk for early heart attacks and strokes is dramatically increased in these individuals.
Treatment ranges from diet and lifestyle changes to lifelong medication.
It is easy to diagnose and easy to treat, and we just simply are missing it.
Sometimes, if we're very successful, we can actually reverse diseases before they become actual problems that we have to medicate people for.
Some countries already have widespread screening programs, but doctors here warn it could be challenging to try and get more children to have their blood drawn.
That's going to be very hard to do. They're not readily available in clinics out in the community. Children don't like getting their blood taken.
Still, this family says it's worth it.
There's literally no reason not to take the test.
And one good reason to have it done, staying healthy for years to come. Lauren Pelly, CBC News, Toronto.
American political commentator Hasan Piker is outspoken and controversial.
I, of course, was always critical of American intervention, but I think now more and more people are coming to that conclusion as well.
Why his voice is resonating here in Canada, too. And an Ontario couple discovered ancestral Indigenous remains on their property.
I think we first realized we were in trouble when we were told by the registrar's office it could be 30 to 50 or 30 to 80,000.
Why they're on the hook for thousands of dollars. The National breaks down the stories shaping our world. Next.
We didn't go right to Apollo 11, right? We had a whole Mercury program, Gemini, Apollo, lots of Apollo missions before we ultimately landed.
NASA is correcting course on its Artemis moon landing program. The agency announced Friday it will delay its plan to touch down on the moon next year. Instead, using the Artemis 3 mission to test a lunar lander in orbit around Earth. It comes just days after the Artemis 2 rocket returned to its Florida hangar for more repairs. Another U.S.-based tech company has announced massive layoffs. Block, the parent company of Square and Cash App, chopped nearly half its workforce, roughly 4,000 jobs, citing AI. But as Nisha Patel explains, the actual impact of AI on tech jobs is hard to measure.
You can get their checkout fast.
Block, the tech company behind payment platform Square, is cutting 4,000 jobs, nearly half its workforce, though it's not clear how many Canadian employees might be affected. In a call to investors, CEO Jack Dorsey blamed AI.
Intelligence tools have changed what it means to build and run a company. We're already seeing it internally. A significantly smaller team, using the tools we're building, can do more and do it better.
Dorsey said he believes the majority of companies will also move to restructure within the next year. Others already have. In recent months, Amazon, Microsoft, IBM, Meta, and Pinterest all laid off workers, citing various reasons, some claiming AI will allow businesses to do more with less. But some experts suggest companies are trimming headcounts based on AI's potential, not its current performance.
I don't think anybody exactly knows just how capable AI is going to be, even in the near future, much less the distant future.
And after many corporations staffed up during the pandemic, AI could also be an easy cover for cost cutting.
It doesn't sound so good to say we overhired and we're getting rid of all of the people that we shouldn't have hired in the first place. It sounds much better to say, well, AI is coming.
Still, the industry is shifting rapidly, and AI is increasingly taking on tasks traditionally done by younger workers.
It's going to take a little bit of time to reinvent the entry-level role, but companies still need a junior team to grow into the more senior sort of parts of the business.
The fundamental skills, people who are good communicators, fast learners, good with new tools and technologies, that hasn't really changed.
Some companies that replaced workers with AI last year now say aggressive job cuts went too far and have returned to hiring humans for some roles. Nisha Patel, CBC News, Toronto.
Now it's time to dig deeper into the stories shaping our world. The cost and consequences when land you purchased becomes an archaeological site.
I truly do not believe that homeowners should be completely responsible for that.
An Ontario couple says they're in limbo after the ancestral remains of a man estimated to be over 1,000 years old were found on their property. But first,
I'm a socialist, anti-imperialist.
wildly popular on the U.S. left, reviled on the right, Hasan Piker brings his political take to a Canadian audience. As you look to the future of America, what does its relationship look like with its neighbors, particularly with Canada?
Not very good.
How the Twitch streamer has become part of the vast American political divide. I sat down with Hasan Piker to talk about his critique of U.S. foreign policy and why his views may resonate with many Canadians. Hasan Piker is one of America's most popular political commentators on the left, especially amongst younger people.
He has to do that because affordability is a real issue.
He spends his days online, sharing his thoughts and opinions with millions of followers on Twitch, an interactive live streaming service. Commentator, interviewer, and sometimes reporter. And while Piker is not a household name in Canada, his views on topics like socialism, Zionism, and imperialism drew a crowd when he came to this country for the first time earlier this month. He delivered a talk at the University of British Columbia's Chan Centre.
He's consistent with his politics, always sticking up for marginalized folks. I think that he has a great worldview.
He consistently stands up for trans people, queer community, minority groups.
His presence, though, not without controversy. Several Jewish groups have accused him of anti-Semitism, lobbied to have him barred from entering the country. Piker was in Vancouver as part of a speaker series on U.S. policy when we sat down with him. Some viewers have no idea what Twitch is, what streaming is, what you do for a living. So what do you do?
I do what conservative radio talk show hosts have done for years, but as a socialist.
And you are interacting with people the whole time. Explain that to me.
Yeah, so I try to have a dialogue with participants.
No, it's never going to be a grand fracturing of the party. They're never going to fracture.
So it's kind of like if you ever wanted to yell at the television, at CBC, for example, yell at one of the anchors, hopefully not you, you could do that, and then the anchor would hear what you have to say and then sometimes even respond.
So you do this, live streaming, 8 hours a day, ideally, 7 days a week. What drives you?
I realized early on that I had this worldview that I felt like wasn't being addressed at all in mainstream outlets. So I thought, I'm just going to be the person that'll do it.
What is your worldview?
I'm a socialist, anti-imperialist, anti-fascist, anti-genocide, and yeah, that pretty much covers it.
Now, most people who are in the streaming space are right-wing voices.
They can't pray on the sidewalk outside an abortion clinic.
All of our scientific institutions have been taken over by political activists.
Colleges and universities are run by leftists.
You are the opposite of that, and yet you are wildly popular. How do you explain that?
The reason why I think I'm popular is because I have a commonly held opinion that oftentimes doesn't get addressed in mainstream resources.
You spoke today to a UBC audience, sold out. You clearly resonate with some Canadians. Why do you think that is? You talk mostly about American politics.
I think everybody around the world, and especially people who in close proximity to the United States of America, like Canada, unfortunately, have to pay attention to American politics, because when we sneeze in America, the rest of the world catches a cold.
You've been following, obviously, Canada-U.S. relations and how they seem to be headed south. Trump has introduced tariffs. He keeps talking about making Canada a 51st state. What do you make of that?
It's not surprising. Trump is very vulgar, and he's very vulgar in his imperialist ambitions. I don't know if Donald Trump will stop. He has been a little bit more restrained, if that's the proper way to analyze it, in the aftermath of the Greenland debacle. But it almost feels like we just have to keep him distracted like a child.
What do you think of some of the rumblings from Alberta talking about how they want to separate?
I don't understand Albertan separatists at all. As someone who lives in America, you don't want to know what it looks like when you have no health care that's backed by the government at all. It's not great. It's interesting to see the same exact separatist movements being implemented in a Western country that's such a close ally to the United States of America, because this is what we have done for decades to Latin American countries, to countries in the Middle East, and now it almost feels like we're doing it haphazardly to one of our most loyal allies in the North.
There seems to be a crackdown on free speech happening in America right now. We see student protests. We see what happened in Minneapolis. Jimmy Kimmel was taken off the air. Do you worry you could be next?
Oh, absolutely. I'll be honest, for purely selfish reasons, after Charlie Kirk was assassinated and the Republicans were screaming bloody murder, looking to come after every single media figure, I thought that I would be first to go.
You're a target because you say controversial things. You have a strong anti-Zionist stand. You've also been called anti-Semitic. In fact, the Center for Israel and Jewish Affairs wanted our government to block you from coming into this country. How do you feel about people saying you're anti-Semitic?
I think it's a horrible smear, especially because I've spent my professional media career combating anti-Semitism as an avowed anti-Zionist. People have the capacity to see right from wrong, and people do have the capacity to understand exactly what's going on in Gaza. And that gives me a little bit more courage that I am no longer as alone as I once was.
You also said after 9/11, America got what it deserved. Can you explain that?
The thing that I was talking about there was, of course, about blowback, a concept that where there is a much academic consensus around. America's designs in the Middle East inevitably led to a very violent reaction that is totally unjustifiable as far as the victims of it.
When you say things like this, they're obviously not premeditated. Do you regret saying them?
It's far worse if I get something wrong on a factual basis than have a moment of weakness that is either misrepresented or is not received positively by the broadest subsects of American society.
America, as you know, politically is very divided, and that polarization seems to be getting deeper and deeper. You have said you consider yourself to be a provocateur. So are you adding to the problem?
Maybe. Problem for the billionaire class, for sure. But I don't think I'm necessarily creating divisiveness, because my ultimate goal is to unite people on a class basis, because many of the divisions that we experience in American society, whether it be racism, sexism, homophobia, intolerance of different sorts, I see that as a weapon that the capital-owning class wields against the working class.
When we look at that polarization, what is the path back to a shared understanding, or is there one?
Absolutely. Something that I stress always to people that might think that trans people or undocumented migrants are the reason why they're experiencing all this pain, this economic pain, this struggle, is that their bosses are not trans people. Their landlord is not an undocumented migrant. These are forces of capital that are playing a major role in their lives, and that they do have the capacity to organize tenant unions, for example, to try to make sure that they have a more just process. That kind of accountability and that initiation of taking power back is very inspiring for a lot of people.
As you look to the future of America, what does its relationship look like with its neighbors, particularly with Canada?
Not very good, I'll be honest. I think that we are a parasitic force on the planet, if I'm being very critical. America has always been a dominant force around the planet, and we have been able to present our intervention as a necessary evil at times. I, of course, was always critical of American intervention, but I think now more and more people are coming to that conclusion as well, especially when they find their nations in the crosshairs of American adventurism.
What message would you have for Canada?
I was going to say Heated Rivalry was awesome.
Did you watch?
Yes, I did. It was great. What message do I have for Canada? As long as you confide in your fellow man and trust in your power, no world power can take over your country.
Hasan Piker was invited by the UBC School of Public Policy and Global Affairs. An Ontario couple says a centuries-old find on their property might ruin their finances.
The reality is our entire property could be dug up. I mean, this could swell to $1 million.
What the law says and what help they're looking for. That's next. The discovery of ancestral remains believed to be over 1,000 years old have put an Ontario couple's building plans on hold.
Okay, who's accountable? How can we make this stop? How can we avoid this situation for the next homeowner?
Ifil Musa looks at what the law says has to happen and who must pay.
They tore down the old home, the beginnings of a brand new lake house. But the project came to a hard stop after Indigenous ancestral remains were found.
Everything in life has a pin in it. We don't make any decisions without thinking about this situation.
Christine and Dan Rayo bought this property in Waynfleet, Ontario in 2020.
It really just felt like a great place to get away, a great place to cottage. But we're also getting older and we're trying to think about where are we going to retire.
They got a permit from Waynfleet Township for the project. Just days in, the foreman called the Rayos.
He said, we've got a little bit of a problem. And he said, we found human remains.
I was called to the scene.
Tanya Hill-Montour is an archaeology supervisor with 6 Nations of the Grand River. Her goal? To protect Indigenous remains and artifacts. She's also one of the appointed next of kin for the Indigenous man found on the Rayos' property, who she believes is at least 1,000 years old.
We need to figure out the next steps of, respectfully for that ancestor, because that's a person.
A 2002 Ontario law triggered what came next. The Rayos were ordered by Ontario's Registrar of Burials to launch what's called a burial site investigation. It involves hiring an archaeologist to determine the origin of the site and how best to lay the ancestor to rest. The owner of the land has to pay for it.
I think we first realized we were in trouble when we were told by the registrar's office it could be 30 to 50 or 30 to 80,000. I think that's when we first had a moment of like, oh my God.
They learned that a burial site investigation is hefty work. One quote estimated 27 days, a crew of 6, 100 square meters of dirt sifted through screens, and local Indigenous oversight. The total, $319,000. If more ancestral remains or artifacts are found, that number could grow.
The reality is our entire property could be dug up to be able to find what it is that they're making sure that they kind of address. But if they find more, I mean, this could swell to $1 million.
The law also says homeowners can apply for financial help by arguing the investigation would cause an undue financial burden. It doesn't, however, include any criteria on how homeowners qualify. Christine and Dan applied to the registrar over a year ago for help. They still don't have an answer, and the uncertainty is taking its toll.
Do you feel like you're in limbo? We're in limbo. I sleep 3, 4, 5 hours of sleep a night. We wake up in the middle of the night, you think about this.
We have no idea what that timeline is at this point in time, right? So everything is on pause.
I can't even imagine the investment of man-hours spent to give us no answer. Do they know that we don't sleep at night? Do they know that we cry all the time? Like, do they know? Like, it's just weird. Like, it's just...
For Hill Montour, the reason for the delay seems clear.
It's a financial burden so costly that nobody wants to take accountability for it. I truly do not believe that homeowners should be completely responsible for that. You know, our history comes before that.
Hill Montour says the Wainfleet Township is ripe for discoveries. It's situated on land well known by experts to have high archaeological potential, meaning a strong likelihood of containing buried archaeological remains or artifacts. Wainfleet didn't note this on the Rayos' building permit. Hill Montour says the township should have warned them.
The awareness was there. I'll just leave it as that. The awareness was there of that area. Why would you even issue a permit?
I just can't even imagine what it feels like from the First Nations perspective to know that their ancestors are buried on this land and that Wainfleet's like, go ahead and build.
What's more, CBC News has obtained documents that show that there have been at least 100 sites of Indigenous ancestral remains or artifacts documented within a 6-kilometer radius of the Rayos' property. The township of Wainfleet declined an on-camera interview. In an email, they said they're neither qualified nor authorized to speculate on what may exist beneath a particular property.
Part of this family's problem is everybody passing the buck. Made from different species of wood.
Scott Miller used to work with the Bereavement Authority of Ontario and has intimate knowledge of how the government applies the law. He says it's too vague. Not good, he says, for the Rayos' plea for financial help.
I think the registrar, just my own personal opinion, is very hesitant to make a mistake on a case like this, and therefore it's one of these, we'll just bury our head in the sand and hope it goes away, and it won't.
I really do run on that hamster wheel, right? Trying to figure out, okay, who's accountable? How can we make this stop? How can we avoid this situation for the next homeowner?
It's not just an Ontario problem. In Kamloops, BC, a property owner is out tens of thousands and counting after finding ancestral remains on their land last month. But Hill Montour says there's more than money at stake.
There's a dollar value put towards our heritage and our ancestors and preservation. What's going to happen when the next person views this as, you know, a problem or a financial burden? They're not going to want to do the right thing for reconciliation and truth.
Hill Montour, Miller, and the Rayos are calling for the same thing: new and clear rules that make sense for property owners and Indigenous communities.
Let's sit down and really make a plan, and then we'll say, this is what we're going to do going forward. And so there won't be people just covering up remains they find on their property, because they're going to know there's an end.
CBC News reached out to Ontario's Registrar of Burials multiple times. They said no to an on-camera interview. The ministry overseeing the registrar told CBC News in an email that the Rayos' application for financial help is still in progress and did not give a timeline for a decision. All the things that have to be done. For now, the Rayos haven't started the dig.
It's like the amount of money, the timeline, what happens next, like so much uncertainty. And that's what's been most stressful and kind of emotional on our side, is just not knowing what's next at this point in time, right?
The way it's structured right now, it doesn't work for anybody, regardless of your financial situation.
For now, all they can do is wait.
And the Rayos told Ithel they have asked the province to consider purchasing their property. They say they haven't heard back. Coming up, New York City made the most out of an historic blizzard.
It was incredibly heartwarming to get to see all these people come together and join in.
Their impressive snow museum, next in our moment. You're looking at a crowd of New Yorkers around one of many snow sculptures in a Brooklyn park. After a blizzard hit the city, they had a pretty good idea of what to do with all the snow. Tonight, their creations make our moment.
We had a fabulous snowstorm this past week. The snow was still lightly falling, and it was just perfect winter wonderland. Every 20 feet, there was a little group of people building their own snowmen or snow sculpture, designing something. There was a whole living room setup that I saw. There was like a couch and a TV and like side tables and chairs. There was like the snow pony that people were like riding.
People were building like artistic things on trees, like building up trees.
We're like over 100 snowmen in this one little park. It was incredibly heartwarming to get to see all these people come together and join in.
It like just reminded us of like our humanity and our creativity.
It really made us feel like part of a community that you don't always feel in a city when you're just bustling about. It was beautiful.
What a sight.
Love a snow day.
Apparently everyone showed up after people put out an invite on social media. And the snowman that Lucas and his friends built, it was over 12 feet tall. But they weren't done after they had wrapped that. They headed over to Central Park and joined in a massive snowball fight. From all of us at The National, thank you for being with us. I'm Erica Johnson in Vancouver. Take care.